Nancy, thank you for bringing this to our attention at this moment because you're absolutely right. We wait until construction starts, we're way too late. So I think this is a great time to have this conversation. I agree that we need to vet some of the sort of realistic uses for that potential uses for this before putting it out to the public for their input because um, I think the sensitivity to the existing neighborhood has to be part of that conversation. One thing I don't think we would even talk about if we weren't in this particular financial environment is an option that we could pursue, I think, right, Nancy, is we could sell it for home development, which I hate to get rid of land because we never ever have land and have uses. But if we look out for the next 10, 15 years at what our capital requirements are, um, unless something there can be funded through um, is either a low cost or can be funded through CPC, I can't see this site bumping up in priority over some of the things that we know have to be done down the road. And so I don't know. Is that a matter of, not that I'm advocating for it, but I just want to know it's possible. We would have to declare it surplus and sell it. How would that work, Nancy?
You would declare, once it is turned over from the school committee to the select board would declare it a surplus and then it could be auctioned.
We'd have to auction it. Okay.
Well, no, I mean, you could do what we're doing at the old gates, you could do an RFP for what you want to see there. You wouldn't have to just sell it, you could have it developed like we're doing at the old gates.
Okay.
But we'd also have, it is part of the larger property, so we'd have to break it off from the larger high school property. Which is not
So I think that
a property.
we need to look at, we have a very solid master plan that has a lot of priorities that the community's already put a lot of time in to say, these are the things we want in our community. And now we have a site. So I think you're right. We need to put together a group to work with the master plan and to vet some of these things. And then the next step would be to present those to the public for further input. But, we're not starting from scratch. We already did a ton of community outreach. And we know people want affordable housing. People want open space. People, they want a hockey rink. So it's like, yeah, this is really a unique opportunity for how large is this site? It's big.
It depends on if you want to only use what's cleared or if you want to clear more of it. That was the reason why the Hathaway Cushing School ended up being at the Hathaway site, because the drop off on this site and what you would have to do to clear it, site another school, was just not a good idea.
Right. Okay. Well, even what's cleared now, once that building's gone, is a pretty substantial site.
Yeah, and you have lots of parking
baseball field. Yeah.
But yeah, how many acres?
I don't know how it comes
Oh,
out.
my. Couple anyways, it has storage,
Couple, what?
couple acres anyways, and it has storage.
Is. I'm guessing, gotta be at least 4. I'm sorry,
Well, I was just gonna say, Karen, to your point that, if this sale project works out as well as I think we all hope it would, then a community-based effort to do more of that sort of housing that fits in with that neighborhood and wouldn't result in huge amount of traffic, that might be something. But again, that's why I would think that if we were to form a small group, comb through the master plan, see what's in there, and see, is there something that would be suitable for it, that we could afford and that we could fund and that would be agreeable to the neighbors, would be probably ideal. so.
Um. I like the idea of having folks go together and give a, and kind of develop some of those ideas. I do think though that we have to, or this is gonna be a community conversation, we have to kind of start the conversation. I would love to know, like, where are we at? Right, I mean, what do you really wanna see at the site? I mean, this is why people elected us to try to make some of these decisions, like, so Karen, do you want, if you had your brothers, do you think housing, do you think rec? What do you think the community, I mean, we know the master plan, we know some of our needs. What would you do? Or what would you, like, is it housing? I guess that's part of this too. I'd like to know from all of us kind of where we are.
At this point, given the world and our finances, I think some kind of housing would be my first choice. Whether it's, we donate the land to a sale organization, or it's we do an RFP for senior housing or whatever, I think it is the least impactful in the neighborhood. And I wouldn't take off the table auctioning it for private only from a growth standpoint. It probably wouldn't be my first choice, but it might be a fiscally prudent thing to pursue. But I think that our need for affordable housing and senior housing is above that in my list of things.
Else on the way in, or I'm just trying to figure out where, like, trying to get temperature of where
Yeah,
people are
I'd
thinking.
like to point out that, we did donate the land for the Blossom Green apartments. And I think that worked out very well with some investment of CPC funds. I would like to think that a similar model could be used for this property without being too disruptive to the neighborhood. And again, I'm looking at the sale project and thinking that if that is successful and people embrace it the way Mary Nell told me they're embracing it, then it would be something that I'm loath to put it up, the land up for auction and take our chances with the developer. So I would like it to be a community initiative.
Any thoughts or unknown at this point, or?
Well, no, I agree we need housing, I don't disagree with that. What I struggle with is location, and it just seems very close to all the other fields, and seems to me like a good place for fields. But I also, we have the old gates, it's been sitting there for how many years now, was it 8? And nothing's been done with that, so. Maybe do make fields there and do housing here, I don't know.
School is a bigger challenge.
No, I know it's a bigger
There's so
challenge. I know.
many reasons, so many reasons.
I know, but then we dive into this and we have old kids sitting there still. So,
Well, I'm not
I
sure we're ever gonna get to
struggle-
the point where we,
yeah.
have too much housing, I don't think.
Maybe we can get to a point where it's 15 years and we've got an empty school building. That's my concern.
Or school.
Something jumps the line and then we still have this vacant building.
Or vacant lot.
Vacant lot, vacant building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That will never tear down in 20 years from now, we still are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to heat a vacant building. So I keep thinking location, but I'm not saying it wouldn't be a good location because it's similar to whatnot, but I still think you can't. It's a perfect location for more related to the high school.
Alright, I mean, I'll tell you where I am, as of now, I'm intrigued by the housing option. I think my gut tells me that we're gonna get community saying, no way, Jose. I don't like that at all. And it's, I think, let's see if my gut's right, that if we do this through the survey, folks are gonna say, let's do fields, whether probably turf. And if we can do that, the least expensive option, I think that's like the art of the possible, what might actually get done. I think we should explore, and it seems like both of you wanna explore housing, so I think we should put that to the survey and then group. I'm not hearing hockey,
And
right?
it's
I'm
not
not
that I
hearing.
don't wanna explore it, I just wanna also make sure we don't.
Yeah.
I want them to focus, just like you said, I don't
Yeah.
want folks going in, we need a big swimming pool right there and hockey rink and an arcade and everything, I was like, no, let's have some focus on what we're talking about, so.
Well, I think whatever it is, needs to be affordable to the town. Like, we
Yes.
have a lot of other priorities, and a pool and a hockey rink don't fit into that picture. I'm gonna
Right.
just say it right now.
Yeah,
But like,
no, yeah,
a turf baseball field is a little bit more affordable than a.
Right. Right.
Little bit, I say.
and
If
so,
you're gonna do, not that I would ever recommend one, a hockey rink or a pool, you would have somebody else do it.
right, so,
Just say, hey, put it out for peace, some build it, schools get the use of it, blah, blah, blah. I would never recommend doing it ourselves and trying to get.
well, so I'll throw it out, this is why we're here. Would we be open to sell it for a hockey rink? Everyone's asked us that. No one's gonna want it, because you can't make money on the deal. You can't get there because you gotta drive through
The traffic.
the traffic going in and out, it's gonna be
The
miserable.
traffic will be.
But do you want this study group to talk about
See no reason they can't.
it? Okay, that's fair,
I see no reason why, yeah, I mean, the thing about a piece of property, as long as it's not an eyesore, just sit on it until you make a decision. Like I said, though, it can't be an eyesore.
Yeah,
That's all.
right,
That's my number one concern, not an eyesore. And then whatever amount of time it takes to reach a consensus as to what we as the community want and what the neighborhood wants and what is reasonable and what we can afford to do, and, it may turn out that it's gonna take us 10 years to do something like build a hockey rink, sell it for, I don't know. And
right,
that's
yeah, no,
kind of.
yeah, again, I want, what are the parameters, what are we saying no to? Does that make sense, Karen, or am I off?
No, I think you're right.
This is
The
here.
other factor here that we haven't talked about is, so yeah, there's a serious grade change there. But so let's say, we're like, oh, we're nuts if we, because of the adjacency, if we don't, connect it to the high school, middle school complex in some way and use it for something, right? I think if we are gonna explore looking at sort of I think you're right, Andrew. I think people are gonna go, no, we need open fields. And Nancy's already said, well, it's gonna have to be turf, and we had to spend $1 million on the high school. So, we can quickly back of the envelope and talk about what that's gonna cost. But we need to factor in, if you're gonna limit access from south, you know what I'm saying? That's a big number. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking through. If you want to limit the impact on the neighborhood and it's going to be a public use, it has to be connected to the high school somehow.
Alright, so we're here, oh, sorry, didn't need to.
No, I'm just,
Alright, so Ray, looks like we wanna do the group. A working group to come back with some of those recommendations. That's what we wanna do, and we'll do a survey. Now, for timing, what do you need, or is there anything on the school side that they need for?
There's nothing we can do within the project.
Yeah,
The quote we had for feasibility study, because I'm on the school building project and I was trying to push towards this, and it's not going anywhere, because it can't. But the feasibility study that Dora and Weir gave the working group in the school building committee was $53,000. And I just thought the scope was way too much. So if the town is gonna end up with it, maybe we should, as we just did, start having that discussion. So, I think a working group's great and see where it goes, and then we could get it on, maybe something on capital plan. It doesn't have to be something that happens this year, but we could get it on the capital plan for an hour year. And that gives us time, depending on what the feeling, the general consensus is, to start looking at the grants. 'Cause there's park grants, there's housing grants, and we'll also know by that time the results of the Gates, old Gates, data
Right.
reuse, which is coming in on March 5th.
Alright,
Fingers crossed.
great, well, thank you, this is good.
My hopes.